Hello, everyone. In today's episode, I'll be touching on the power of intention, and that ties tightly with this idea of strategic creation, which, what do those words come down to? What are the concepts, the principles? It's this combination of knowing what to do while subtracting that which slows you down or deters you from having the energy, the time, and the focus to execute on what you should be doing. So they go in tandem. If you do a bunch of healthy things, but you also participate in so many draining activities, just imagine, think about this. Say you're doing well, and that's how you're living. Just imagine how much more powerful you could become if you subtract what is slowing you down. If you're already doing well while participating in a bunch of, then the limit is nowhere. You can go anywhere. And I think this is the trouble with distraction is people do not understand what they could become, and it's this combination of not seeing in a big picture while being so unfocused that the thought doesn't even occur that you have much more inside. And once you sort of crack that glass ceiling that society seems to create, then it's a never ending journey of actually enjoying every moment of your life. And when I say that, there are still uncomfortable feelings and emotions that arise, yet you have the awareness due to what I've said, which leads you to completely having this ability in the moment to catch yourself so quickly that that's a lesson. That's a lesson. So on. Something that we all need to understand is we have our personal, individual attachments, biases, and preferences due to how we were raised, the family, the environment, the religion, etc., etc. And once you begin to notice that each individual has this, and this is not for you to judge others, this is for you to take a look at yourself and realize, okay, so these are the things that I'm attached to, and therefore it's more understandable when you catch other people being a certain way, thinking in black and white terms, like my way is the right way, and all hail whatever. And then you can be more compassionate, right? Because the funny thing about positive emotion is when you carry it within you, like compassion, kindness, understanding, it's not only for the other person. Ooh, I have to sneeze. It's for you as well. So the content can differ, but the structures are generally understood. They're generally applicable. It's like the bigger picture context versus the smaller understanding. An example would be spirituality in general. Like you have many belief systems, but the structure of all belief systems is similar to you get what you give, you reap what you sow, and understanding that there is not one way to do everything. There are many different routes. And that is the healthy understanding to say, okay, I can learn something from Buddhism, learn something from Hinduism, etc., etc., etc. The trouble occurs when people think in black and white terms. It doesn't have to be religion, it can be anything, absolutely anything. And this is when we get into what I would label petty human. It's just so unnecessary. You see, many people create their own suffering by participating in actions which lead them to being annoyed, frustrated. But the thing is, they're doing that by choice. It's like You chose to open up your phone to scroll through short form content on Instagram and then to find something that aggravates you. Then you go and comment, and you know what I'm explaining here. It's like, but these people who actually participate in the act, they lack the understanding, which is they are creating their own suffering. And maybe if you just think about it for a bit, like, if you understand this, then you can start to intentionally reduce the things that frustrate you. And of course, there will always be new situations or unavoidable moments which are challenging. And that being said, that's when we come in with what I would label a reframe. And, someone, maybe they brake check you or something for no reason. Like, let's say you're giving them space. Yeah. And then instead of getting angry and like chasing them or something of that nature, you'd say, this is a lesson. This is an opportunity for me to just be calm and collected in my everyday life. See, it's not that you won't get a momentary feeling of frustration. That is, I think, unavoidable, depending on, your specific circumstance. That said, the beauty comes in when you notice your frustration before actually being trapped or swallowed up by it. You see and feel the feeling. You feel that emotion arising, and then you notice it, and okay, but I'm not going to fall into the trap of letting it just totally take me over. And that's one of the most important nuances I think anyone can begin to grasp or understand in a intentional life, is that you may have a initial reaction, a initial emotion, and that's normal, unavoidable. But your response is something that you choose. And it takes a training of what you would call focus and a reduction of distraction to reduce you're not reducing the gap, but to reduce the time it takes for you to notice the gap between initial stimulus and your specific chosen response. And that's a deep one, but it's so powerful. See, depth is what leads to true joy in life, because the shallow things, it's like, I will be happy once I get blank. That's shallow. You're not understanding. You're not seeing deeper. A better way to be, or I don't want to say a better way to be, but a more enjoyable, a smoother and calmer way to be would involve understanding, I completely forgot what I was going to say. Interesting. Some things charge you and others drain you. And it's very generally applicable. That's why I like it. See, a good example would be music in general. And then we get into what the music is based upon. So there's a big difference between lyrics that they're peaceful, and then you get into modern day rap where all it talks about, I don't want to say all, for many rap songs in today's culture, it's just completely murder, like drugs, low frequency things that involve the lower frequency emotions of life. For example, shame, envy, greed, pride, arrogance, those sort of things. It's like, it brings you, and when I say it brings you, this involves being aware of your emotions, which many people, it is not how they are. Many people do not have the capacity at this moment to reflect upon and see how music makes them feel in that moment. So, for example, when I would listen to rap a couple years ago, I noticed like I would always drive like a savage, and that's kind of in me. Maybe I didn't need the rap music to be like that, involving like a standard car and how that just is more of a driving experience. I don't want to rant. Well, all I do is rant for the most part, but it's interesting how certain music, if you listen closely to the vibe in general, the lyrics, the tune, etc., it leaves you with a certain emotion consistently. That's the thing. So sometimes chance is chance, but if you consistently feel a certain way, aggressive, like for me, that's the simplest way to express what rap music does. It makes you feel aggressive. And although I wouldn't say, sometimes lower frequency emotions can be used to get you out of an even lower frequency emotion. For example, anger or aggression could be more helpful than complete victim mentality, because the anger will actually inspire action, which may lead to you getting out of anger. It's a tricky game right there. But the point is, if you consistently feel a certain way that you would not like to feel, and you notice this, then that's a beautiful sign, because it's just informing you that something in your day-to-day, your moment-to-moment actions can be adjusted, and that adjustment may lead you to feeling a different way. Maybe better, a little better. See, great things take time, or significant improvement takes time. And for you to get to a point, sometimes life is very tricky and it has to get worse before it gets better. Like, I could recall being so attached to unhealthy things that when you drop those unhealthy things, it feels like everything is even worse. That being said, that is your ego backlash. That is sort of a simple example would be like a relapse. In the big picture, you're doing an amazing thing by getting off of alcohol or whatever it may be. But in that short time frame, it feels potentially worse than had you continued drinking. I don't know, because I've never been addicted to alcohol, but that's kind of the vibe that I understand. And it's an interesting thing when you begin to unravel the general paradox of life, how you would think, oh, I want this, so I'm going to chase after that. But when you chase something, it evades you. Or when you work too much, you actually are less efficient and less productive. Therefore, less work gets more progress. Isn't that confusing, right? But that's what seems to be how the Chinese, the philosophy of yin and yang works. Like, how would you be able to understand what a beautiful wave, a big up wave is, without the tide going out? So we need these ups and downs, these ins and outs, these black and white understandings at some point. But then in itself, yin and yang is a million shades of gray, because it's not this way or that way. You need both opposing ends of a spectrum. And so what I'm getting at here is, I could not explain any of this, low frequency rap music understanding to you if I hadn't been there at some point and then started changing what I listened to and realized, wait, oh, so there's a difference between vibes in music, and there's low frequency music, which leads you to the low frequency emotions, and then other hand, high frequency music, which makes you compassionate, understanding, patient, etc., etc. When I speak about the high and low frequency things, what is powerful for us to understand is, okay, let's take a ship, for example, and the compass is 1 degree off. Over thousands of miles, you totally miss your destination. So if you apply that to your general everyday life, it is interesting. See, you change one small thing, it will compound for you. That being said, it comes back to that initial understanding, which is you add healthy things while subtracting the unhealthy things. And if you do this, you will see a powerful shift. But the psychology of human nature, this is how my journey is unfolded. It doesn't happen quickly, slowly you add healthy things, and then you begin to see, okay, feel a little better. And then maybe you have a step backwards, which is totally fine. As long as you're moving in the right direction, perfection isn't to be expected. But that being said, if you understand the power in compounding, and you begin to, okay, one habit healthy, two habit healthy, etc. And then you begin to craft your entire lifestyle aiming in the healthiest direction possible, it's nearly inevitable that things get smoother and smoother. You have more and more energy. Your mind is clearer, focused, and you just begin to, instead of a 200 horsepower car, you're running like an 800 horsepower car that is built and completely tuned perfectly, professionally. Everything is just, beautiful. The details have been inspected. And so there's a massive difference between making these slow changes over time and then getting to the point where you have eliminated just about every bad, poor habit that you can think of at that moment. See, then over time, you'll realize, I didn't even know that I did that thing. As your awareness grows with your healthy compounding, you'll catch yourself and learn new areas that you didn't even know were holding you back. There will be things that maybe you were in denial, you didn't realize it was slowing you down, and then you kind of get to a point where it's like one of the only things that you can potentially think of that might be slowing you down. And then it's like, okay, well, I kind of am curious. I'm doing so well currently. What if I delete this and this, these two last few things that could be slowing me down? I'm not sure if they are, but they might. And then you kind of dabble and you're open-minded. You move in a smooth direction and you become less closed, and that the denial, it just begins to evaporate. You begin to have this beautiful honesty and integrity with yourself about all your relationships with almost any sort of structure in this physical and inner world. And inevitably, you change. You become something that is like, whoa, I didn't know life could be and feel like this. And this happens through what I explained initially is just one small shift at a time. You need to just take one step. And as you take that step, the fog sort of clears. But I think maybe why not touch on how to take the first step? I think a beautiful foundational understanding would be to know on the other side of your fear is your beautiful and powerful, significantly smoother version of yourself. If you can just ponder on that, to think, there's this King Arthur story, and essentially it's the knights. They went into the darkest part of the woods because they knew that truth, which I just explained. See, it's not up for debate. This is how the psyche works. It is tricky. And that which you fear is exactly what you need. And often what you want is not what you need. So you kind of see what I'm saying? You don't want the fear, and that's what you need. It's tricky how this all unfolds. I don't know. But let's be real for a second. You ever play a video game and you ever use the cheat codes? It's fun initially, right? You can do anything. You have all the money, you walk through walls. Yeah. But then you get to a point where it's like, okay, maybe I want to go back to no cheat codes, or maybe you just drop the game and find a new game, because that's how the human psyche works. See, we need challenge. Without challenge, what's the point? What is the point? And what I'm getting at here is the universe, the thing that created life. It made our psyche the way it is for a reason. Because if it was the other way around, what we wanted is what we needed, and on the other side of fear was just fear, nothing rewarding, we would get bored of this game. It wouldn't be nearly as entertaining. And that's the point of life, is to understand it's an adventurous journey. It's meant to be a game. It's meant to be played with both a sincere seriousness and a loose, playful wisdom. And you stray too far to either extreme in any category of this experience, you basically, you screw yourself. You truly cut your head off when you become closed, one-sided, or obsessed with any certain way of viewing the world. See, many different mountains, many different routes to each mountain. It's key to have compassion. Oh, you see it this way? Maybe can I try to put myself in that person's shoes and sort of understand why they don't see it the way that I do? And maybe, yeah, they came from a different scenario, different parents. Everything in their life has been different from your personal experience. So no wonder why they don't see it exactly how you see it. And just to put yourself to have that compassion and that open-mindedness, it is going to, it is a blessing for you to be that way, because you reduce your own suffering, you reduce your own arrogance. And when you're arrogant, you just create your own pain, because it's like you try to control people, try to make things be a certain way. And you're better off sort of accepting what you can't control. What do you control? You control yourself. You do not have any control over other people. Of course, there are certain scenarios, like if you're a mother and you have a child, I get it, of course. But I'm talking in general, right? Everything I say, here's two things. For the most part, everything I say is in terms of averages, generally applicable. And then the next thing is everything I say is a reminder or something, a lesson that I would have loved to had learned earlier in my life. So if anything, it doesn't matter to me who sees this, who agrees with me, who, What matters to me is just expressing myself in a manner like this is healing. That's the best way I can put it. It's healing. Here, I want to touch a bit on the concept of flow blockers and flow in general. What is the state of mind which is flow? It's sort of when you're not overthinking, you're not anxious or stressing, but you're pretty much immersed in whatever it is that you're doing. For many people, me personally, this was first found through reading and sports. I could recall being young and just falling into books. They were adventurous, fictional books nonetheless. Totally immersed in that topic or that moment. And if you contrast that, on the other hand, the opposite of flow is when you're stuck in your mind. Like, what did this person think about me when I said this certain thing? Have you ever been there? That's not a fun place to be. Or what if I do this in the future, in this certain situation? In 90% of the time when you're thinking like that, you're thinking in a negative manner. But that being said, I'm not a huge fan of statistics, because many people forget the context in which the statistic was taken from, but this one is a healthy one. It's a friendly statistic, a kind statistic, which is 85% of your fears never come true. So about 1/10 of the time, what you're scared of will occur. quite rare. That's nice to know. And so I explained flow. Let's touch on the most common flow blockers for the physical and mental. For the mind, from my direct experience, it came in the form of picking up the fucking cell phone. Like, less phone equals more life. It's that simple. Because when you pick up your phone often, what you're doing is outsourcing emotion, meaning you are bombarded with a message, a video, some stimulation, which grabs your focus, and it makes you think of somewhere you're not. See, the beautiful thing about life is being here now, being with your physical senses. You feel, in my experience, the best moments of my life have been when I was not thinking and simply feeling with my senses. Can you relate? Maybe. I'm not sure. Let me know. Reply. And what other flow blockers are there besides outsourcing your emotion? That's a general one. So there's many forms of outsourcing your emotion. Usually it comes in external stimulus. And that's why we have to be strategic with how we set barriers and when we choose to do what in our life. That's a beautiful concept, understanding when to do what. You could go deep with that. Maybe I'll make an episode on that. When to do what. And let's transition. The physical flow blockers. Usually this comes in the form of substances and just processed food which is not healthy for you on a fundamental human level. Simplest way for me to express this would be if it has more than 5 ingredients which are processed, bad. Processed food in general, bad. And when I say bad, what do I mean? I mean unhealthy. I mean, it lowers your power of the immune system. See, humans who understand the interconnectedness of the game, of the organism, of nature in general, they tend not to get sick often because it's this simple concept, which is input equals output. And when you put the healthy things into your system and you avoid that which lowers your vibrational frequency, inevitably you feel good and you flow through your days. You don't have thoughts of sickness or any of that. It's irrelevant. It doesn't come up. And this is tricky. It took me a bit to get to this point where I rarely think negatively and I rarely feel sick. Like, see, I'm not bragging here. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm looking to express is the power of being specific with what you consume. And see, I'm not any better than anyone else. I've just began to understand the magic and the details of what enters my system, my mind, my body, and exactly how it affects me feeling. And then I said, okay, well, I enjoy feeling good. It's not fun to be sick, right? Like, what is that saying? The sick man only wants one thing. That's just to be healthy. And the healthy man, he wants everything. So you see, if you can learn to appreciate the beautiful things as a healthy man or woman on a moment-to-moment basis, I would say that's one of the keys to living a joyous lifestyle, is not needing extravagant stimulation, external validation, things which are out of your control to feel good. If you can learn to feel good through, the simple acts which you are totally responsible for. Okay, I'll just rant a little bit. Like I haven't been ranting. Yeah. Okay. Reading, writing, the correct sleep, which means not eating before bed, not drinking too much before bed. What I mean is, it's okay if you wake up in the middle of the night, if you're fine with that, but you can sleep through the night by following the 3-2-1 rule, which is no food 3 hours before bed, no screens 2 hours before bed. Yeah. And no liquids 1 hour before bed. I have water before bed, just not a whole gallon. So when I say that, it's like the 80-20 rule can be applied to the 3-2-1 rule. So I'm never here for perfection. That's not fun, right? Being perfect, and then you just you make the game stale. Be healthy in general. Play the game. You are a human. You deserve to have pleasures. Just raise your standard on what you consider pleasure. I think that's a beautiful thing. See, instead of having processed food as pleasure, have what I would say a great snack for me is this thing called the matzo: water, flour, salt. 3 ingredients, simple. Then peanut butter, peanuts, that's all. No oils. 4 ingredients, healthy snack. Learn to raise your standards. This stuff, it takes patience, it takes time, iteration, reflection. Theme. What's the theme? Understanding how what you eat, what you put into your mind makes you feel. See, I used to like things like Oreos. I mean, the processed food, that stuff, what I would say now is it tastes too good. It is so fake. The masters of creating addicting things, they make it so it's just so gripping. It just, it takes you over. I remember smoking weed and eating just a whole box of Oreos. I'm sure I'm not alone there. And it's that combination. See, it would lower awareness to the point where I'm just unconsciously and then the Oreos themselves are addicting. They are engineered to be addicting. So you have, the substance, which lowers awareness, then the addicting thing that was man-made, engineered, and then before you know it, you're in a perfect storm of doing something which leaves you so full of shame, regret the next morning. It's a tough one. So the point is, when we figure out how what we do correlates to how we feel, and then we figure out how we would like to feel, you make changes. And then, therefore, it's inevitable that your life gets better. As you raise your standards, you can still have pleasure. Just raise your standards on what pleasure is. Something important that I realized through time is being intentional with what you speak about, what you think about. See, there's 3 stages. You go victim, survival, thriving. And the victim doesn't understand that they are creating their own suffering by identifying with being a victim. See, labels are just thrown around and they're quite limiting, right? I was trapped in this. In school, I labeled myself like an athlete, and therefore I had no interest in writing and reading. See, I won't go too deep there, but also human nature is when you're told to do something, you don't want to do it, right? Don't think of the purple elephant. It's like, oh, and he's wearing a purple bandana too. But the point is, it's priceless when you make these psychological connections between how the psyche works and the trickiness of it. And the victim mindset, you get trapped, totally immersed in identifying as something which limits your potential, and therefore you don't even give yourself the chance to think, wait, can things be different? Because you're just stuck in that box you create for yourself. And then, eventually maybe you get to that survival mode where it's like, I'm working hard, I'm grinding. You see, this is not what thriving is. Thriving is when life is a game where you do work, you do healthy things, and they're enjoyable. How do you get to this place? You start off in the grind mode. That's just how it unfolds. But even just understanding, victim, survival, thriving, that gives you sort of a roadmap, right? And when you have a roadmap, it's less probable that you get lost. Maybe you do get lost, but at least you have a fucking map So therefore, if you're in that work hard, okay, understand that less is more. That when you overwork yourself, you become less productive and therefore you do less work. So then you can begin to say, okay, maybe I do some focused analytical stuff for business. Then you have healthy habits on the side, which leave you feeling good. Start small, 5 minutes of writing, just writing anything and everything. It doesn't matter. Just to write, just to get the thoughts out of your mind, to empty the discombobulated mind, and maybe you get a bit more organized and flowing after writing for a couple minutes. That's how it works for me. And what I was getting at with the labels is I would never have considered myself someone who reads and loves reading, writes and enjoys writing. I could label myself a jacked nerd now. And I think that's a beautiful thing. It's paradoxical, right? Usually nerds are not jacked. So that's what I'm getting at. The beauty in life is understanding there's power in not boxing yourself in. And that is one of the most powerful understandings anyone can come to is, okay, this quote unquote uncomfortable thing occurred. How can I transition that into a lesson? Because that's when you have a developed ego, when the things that used to bother you or would really make you sad, whatever, they are actually just viewed as, okay, how can I learn from this? Lesson. I become stronger through that. So that's just a beautiful understanding to have. And I think it's super important to figure out what actions help you develop internal belief. And on the other hand, what actions bring you to that frequency of guilt and shame, etc. Because once you are clear on that, you can design your life in a way, oh yeah, I would like to feel this way. Okay, so I'm going to do this, and this. Therefore, I will not be doing this, and yeah, you get the point. And then you become the creator of your life. You design how you feel on a moment-to-moment basis. And this does involve making trade-offs, right? Because the average Joe is totally fine with, feeling horrible sometimes and then feeling great sometimes. But me and many others prefer more of an even keel route where it's like, okay, today I felt good 98% of the day, had a couple moments of but 98% of the day feeling wonderful is, what else can I say, right? What else is there? I just don't think that many people understand that you can feel great or inspirational, flowing, free, peaceful a large majority of the time. Quickly, if you resonate, like if I've created any sort of deep, powerful feeling within you, I'll have a link in description and you could just DM me and let me know like what the main thing that you're working on in your personality, in your physique, whatever it is in your life in general. And I don't work with everyone. I can't work with everyone because I'm on a certain level and I need someone else who's on a certain level whom is compatible with me. I'm not going to put myself in a situation where it's not flowing and fun. That being said, if you have gotten some powerful feelings here, reply, shoot me a DM. So here I'll just list some powerful questions that before you DM me or reply, make sure you answer these. Number one, what's causing the most significant amount of pain in your life right now? Just write about it. If you're not sure, just ask yourself that question and write about it. And it's fine if you don't come to like one answer. If you come to like a few different ideas, hey, that's good. And this is just simple. Implement a daily walk into your schedule. Like it doesn't have to be long, just something where you get moving, you get sunlight, and it's these small habits. You You create your lifestyle into something amazingly peaceful and joyous through a abundant amount of small incremental shifts over an extended period of time, and adding that daily walk, reading, journaling, maybe some breath work, exercising. I could go on. These are just some of these basic, very simple things, they're free. How much are books? Books are cheap. And you get my point. This stuff, it's very feasible, it's doable, and it has such a powerful reward if you'll just stick with it. That's the thing. You do this stuff for a week and then stop, no rewards. The thing is, you'll get to a point where this is what you enjoy doing. And that's the magic right there, is when you enjoy having a healthy lifestyle. It takes time to get there, but oh, is that priceless. So to conclude, I'm grateful for you. I deeply appreciate you taking the time to invest in the enhancement of your mind and body, because I'll go big picture for a second. Think, you throw that rock, ripple effect. You change so much by investing in the improvement of yourself. And this is important to break that glass ceiling. Do not let people tell you that you can't make something massive, especially with the technology and the reach that we have through technology nowadays. You can do so much, but even on an individual physical level, family, friends, acquaintances, you be intentional with who you expose yourself to. Something I got trapped in is trying to save people who don't want to be saved. So what I'm grateful to know now is there will be some individuals who are open and ready to grow and learn with you. Help them and work with them. It's like, you don't save anyone, but you help yourself through helping other people. That's the funny thing, right? So I don't do this just because I'm some, compassionate, wonderful. No, I do this because it benefits me and as many side effects, which are also beneficial. That's a theme that you want to look out for in life, is avoid that which has many negative or uncomfortable, low frequency side effects, and immerse yourself in that which is on the opposite end of the spectrum. So yeah, if this was enjoyable, just help me out. Like video, maybe share it with a friend, tell them like what you enjoyed, why they should be interested in it, or just reply and let's talk. I'll answer. Enjoy yourself. I appreciate you.